Good morning, friends and foes. Good morning, multiverse. Welcome to Back of the Cereal Box, the pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth. And it's the most wonderful time of the year. This is the start of the Christmas season, but more importantly, this is Johnny Palooza 53, day one. And this morning, Aubrey, Willow, and I are going to be talking about the 80s classic Ferngully. And we're going to do that right after this from DL Memphis and the Murdering Crows.
Hits like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss, Johnny Carson and Mickey Mouse. The first star was James Dean. Elvis Presley, yeah, he's still the king. Some things are only imitatable. You can't beat an original. Oh, you can't beat an original.
All right, friends and foes, that awesome theme song was performed by our good friend, the ice cream queen herself, DL Memphis, and the Murdering Crows. You can get that album, Four Bad Crows, on Amazon, iTunes, Google, or anywhere you buy music. And of course, we are brought to you by our Cereal Box super friends, Eli Cash, Cindy Kep, Sharice Collins, Dave Mattingly. And you too can have your name in lights and get exclusive content, including exclusive mini episodes and RSS feeds at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. Buy us a bowl or two of cereal, buy us a whole box, support this show. And if you hate the show, support us even more vigorously and donate even more at patreon.com/cerealboxpod. All right, guys and gals, it is the most wonderful time of the year. Not only is it the Christmas season, it is my birthday season, my level up time. Yesterday was my level up day, so today is officially Johnny Palooza day one, and I've got birthday loot to share with you guys. And we are called Back in the Cereal Box because when I was a kid, Saturday mornings meant sitting down in front of the TV with a big bowl of cereal, watching cartoons, reading comic books, watching kaiju movies, and we didn't have smartphones or tablets at the breakfast table. First day with my new tongue, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't have smartphones or tablets at the breakfast table on Saturday morning or any morning. So we were reading the back of the cereal box. That was our newspaper. That was our world. And that's what this show is all about. My name is John Pica. I am the prophet of pop culture, and Avengers comic books, Star Wars movies, and Saturday morning cartoons made me who I am today. Let's meet the rest of the gang in the virtual rec room, coming to us all the way from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. She is our emotional support Canadian, the Peppermint Princess, the social media socialite, a fan of Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, and X-Men. She is the one, the only, Willow Schuyler.
Good morning.
Good morning, Willow.
I'd sing happy birthday, but I think we're still in the process of having to pay for that song. That's it. Yeah, that's not that's not in the public domain just yet.
We can make our own song. Happy birthday, Johnny. We're so glad you came. Happy birthday, Johnny. From the Cereal Box Gang. That's it. That's our new happy birthday song for everybody.
That sounds awesome. I think we need to record that and use that for when our people in our chat have birthdays.
I think we just did, but I think I'll take care of that this week. All right. Also coming to the virtual rec room, your wife's favorite redhead, amazing cosplayer, artist, photographer. She is a fan of comic books and all things retro geek culture. She is the one, the only Aubrey Cavett.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning
Aubrey.
and happy birthday, Johnny.
Thank you. It is my level up day, and this begins the 31 days of Johnny Palooza. So super excited about that. Now, Aubrey, every episode we do, you do an homage, a cosplay homage to one of the characters from a movie we're talking about. And this morning we're going to be talking about Ferngully. And are you doing anything special this morning?
I am just dressed as a leaf.
As a leaf, okay.
Because they wore a lot of leaf-like outfits and a lot of midriffs, and I'm not doing that this early for the kids.
Yeah, they wore a lot fewer clothes than you're wearing right now. Now, every morning starts off with a big bowl of cereal, and y'all, I'm doing a first taste test of the cinnamon toast crunch, gingerbread toast crunch, and I've already poured it in my bowl, and we're gonna put some milk on here, but let's check this out. So this is the back of the cereal box, and on the back of this box, why am I not? There we go. On the back of
I
this
got you.
you can cut out a gingerbread house, and I think
Ooh,
I'm
cool.
going to do this. I'm going to cut this out when the box is empty, which, based on the dry taste test, is going to be very quick. Because anyone who's been watching this show or listening for any length of time knows that I am a fanatic about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But I've not had the gingerbread, and I love gingerbread cookies. So this should be a match made in heaven. Now the dry cereal is delicious, but it's not really cereal until it joins the milk in a holy union that electrifies the taste buds.
Okay, Johnny's really serious about his cereal.
Okay. So, when you add the milk, the gingerbread flavor pops right out. Because dry, you really don't taste the gingerbread that much. It just tastes pretty much like regular Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But
So there is cinnamon, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could not have this. But the gingerbread flavor comes right out. Now, Willow, you were telling me you were not a fan of gingerbread.
I'm not. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just how some people make gingerbread lately. It seems like nutmeg tends to overpower a lot of the other flavors.
So that is, it does vary from person to person how they make it, company to company. And I will agree, there is some gingerbread that is really, really pronounced and really sharp. Is that the right word to use? I don't know, but I've
I'd say
experienced
sharp
it.
is a good word.
Yeah. But this is fantastic. This tastes like Christmas in a bowl. What do you got, Willow?
Well, I'm still eating the brown sugar mini wheats, and I definitely did not put enough milk in this bowl. So by the time we're done this show, it'll just be a bowl of, half wet, half dry mini wheats.
All right, so Aubrey is like about to come unglued from her chair. Aubrey, what do you got this morning? What's in your bowl?
Okay, so everybody knows, I've said it before, I don't really eat cereal anymore. I lost a lot of weight, over 150 pounds in the last 15 years on my own, no surgery. So I try to stay away from carbs, but this podcast has got me weak. Look what I found. Oh, okay, so I couldn't find any very many cereals that had rainforest animals because we're watching Ferngully. So, rainforest. So there's a toucan for us. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Come on, guys. And here's the thing. Look, Willow. No back. I don't have a cereal back.
Wow.
It's Canadian style. But it's not in two different languages. It's just the same front and back.
So
What madness is this?
I know, right, Willow? At least you have two different languages. It's just boring old English on both sides here. Well, taste test. I've never tried this one, so all right. Let's see if I can do this bowl thing.
What's in her bowl? It is Fruit Loops, Willy Wonka.
Okay. So it looks like they're tiny. They remind me of Cheerios. They're really tiny, so they remind me of Cheerios. But then they're bright red, bright green, bright yellow. Oh, definitely rainforest colors. Red, yellow, green. There's a blue in there. I don't know if there's any purple. I don't see purple. And then little specks of chocolate.
See, I don't know how well fruit and chocolate go together.
That's what I was worried about, Johnny. I don't know what this is. This is there's food. Okay. I have my regular soy milk in here with vanilla, but I'm letting you know it doesn't really change the cereal flavor at all if you've never tried it. It's very sweet. I have a feeling it would melt rather rapidly.
Yeah, Fruit Loops get soggy very quickly.
But I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's actually better than like the last. I'd say it rivals the Great Pumpkin cereal.
Okay, which I wasn't really a fan of, to be honest with you. Oh, hey, look at that. Oh, I like that layout.
For cereal?
Well, no, just for the show. Look at that. I like that. All right. For those of you who are just listening, you're wondering, what's Johnny talking about? We have a video component to this show. So people who are watching are seeing our beautiful faces and or our horrific faces, depending on what you think of me. But
5 hours of sleep, so no judging.
Some people have accused me of being Krampus. All right. So we have some viewer every morning I break Aubrey. By the way, not only can you contribute at Back of the Cereal Box on Patreon, you can actually contribute during this podcast or during the broadcast if you're on Facebook by sending us stars. And that's a lot of fun.
Send us stars.
Dave Mattingly says, "Good morning, Box Tops." Good morning, Dave Mattingly.
Good morning, Dave.
He is a super cereal boxer super friend. He is one of those super friends that contributes to Patreon, and we really appreciate him. And Tabby Cat, good morning, y'all. And who is this? This weird chick named Aubrey says, "Hey, BOC beers." And Dave Mattingly says, "Johnny is a Griswold, I'm a Grinch." And he's talking about my hat. It says, "In a world full of Grinches, be a Griswold." And I am a Griswold.
Johnny, Dave, for those who don't know, who is Griswold? For those who don't know.
Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
The greatest Christmas movie ever made.
Oh, them's fighting words. Last night I helped decorate a Christmas parade float for our parade that's happening tonight, our Christmas tree lighting ceremony. It looks amazing. It's covered in rainbows because we're P-flags and we're very proud. And I'm telling you, Johnny, like Christmas spirit, but the one thing you don't do is argue about your favorite Christmas movie, because we had some diehard fans that were die hard. They were dying hard. Well, the argument was dying hard, and I'm like, I'm firm. I was in so many renditions live on stage, Willow, of the Christmas Carol, and I'm telling you, Kelsey Grammer and so many more, Sir Patrick Stewart, so many great,
The Muppets Christmas Carol is the best.
The Muppets
makes me
Christmas
feel
Carol
like you
is the best version of A Christmas Carol. But I don't know that I would say any one of them is the best. I have my top 3 or 4 favorite. Christmas Vacation is the funniest.
Oh,
A Christmas Story is maybe my sentimental favorite because it was my childhood experience. That was my Christmas experience growing
you
up.
shoot your eye out.
Yeah.
Okay. Funny thing about A Christmas Story. Okay, so it took me for freaking ever to realize that Zach Ward, who played the bully in The Christmas Story, played Christopher Titus's brother in Titus.
Okay.
Yep.
Good
It wasn't
to know.
until, was it last year or something? Something finally clicked. I'm like, wow.
Marissa Henderson says good morning.
Good morning, Marissa. That is our Etsy person, person that does all of my crafting. So if you need crocheted hats or scarves, or I have a scarf that drags so much on the ground that I have to wrap it a bunch of times. My favorite scarf in the world that she made.
I love that.
She made our Rosie. She made my Scooby-Doo. So check her out on Etsy, guys.
Well, here's what you need to do. I've been asking you to send me a link so I can put it in the show notes every Saturday. Marissa, hold Aubrey accountable because we want to send people your way.
I think I sent you her Etsy account a long time ago, but I'll find it again.
Well, listen, if it's been more than 24 hours, I've slept since then, and you guys send it to me again. So Tabby Cat says, love the hat, Johnny. Thank you. And Kelly Tupper says, take a cleansing breath. Why? Okay. And she says, good morning, everyone. And Case Corona says, Case. I'm here.
Oh my God, Case. Thank you from Slayer Case on Twitch. He's a gamer. He's one of my friends. Thank you for stopping by, you busy guy.
And Zentron says, sorry for being late. I'm at For the Love of the Love of Sci-Fi event in Manchester, UK. Wow.
Oh, so cool. What's the weather like right now, Zentron? Because I was born in England and I never get to know the weather.
Cold and rainy.
Probably. It's cold and rainy in Tennessee.
And Keith Williams is here with a good morning. Jimmy Scales Jr. is here with morning.
Morning.
And Andrew Milden says, Johnny Palooza, let's get out the acid. It's not that kind of Palooza. No.
Wrong Palooza.
And Dave Mattingly says, Johnny, you'd like Merry Birthday to You that Mike Jitlov made up for his movie, The Wizard of Speed and Time, and released into the public domain. You know, I need to check out that movie. You keep bringing up The Wizard of Space and Time, or Speed and Time, and I've never seen it. And I need to see that because you recommend it. Although you did also recommend the movie with Alan Arkin anyway. And Willow's cool Space Jam t-shirt.
It's a nightgown. This thing is probably no, like this thing is freaking old. Like this thing is like probably even 30 years old.
I love that. In her pajamas.
Yes.
As I am, but Aubrey rejects that premise completely.
I did from day one. I love that you didn't mind, Johnny, because I don't have enough of pajamas that are camera appropriate.
Oh yeah, they are. Oh yeah, they are.
No, it's called a t-shirt and like big t-shirt, like enormous t-shirt and like shorts. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, nobody can see it. They just see from your waist up. You could.
That's
be naked.
That's why you host the show in your robe.
Yeah, you could be naked from the waist down, and no one would know.
Oh, no!
Because we only show you from the waist up. Anyway, Dave Mattingly wants to know: can you use the gingerbread toast crunch to build tiny house? Yes, I think you could.
Oh, let's see, Johnny. Hold it up. hold it up. Could you have a good piece? Show us just one
Yeah.
more time. Because
Yeah,
as
yeah.
crafters with food, foodie
Well-
crafter. Whoa.
Yeah. Now they're a little bit curved.
But you can
So-
still do it. You can
Yeah,
still,
you could
yeah.
do it. Yes, too. You could create the bricks.
And the
Yeah.
frosting, you could make the cereal, like cereal frosting, you know, like make
Mhm.
it taste like cereal milk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, and look, Chris Vaglio is with us saying good morning,
Morning.
from the Song Swap Showdown. And Kelly Tupper says that cereal makes Johnny happy with a smile. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
They love your smile, Johnny. Our audience absolutely loves it.
And Dave Mattingly says, Aubrey, you've lost 150 pounds. I think I found them.
Aw, I was wondering where they went. Thanks, Dave. At least I know. I'm going to put some back on for the holidays. It's okay. I'll find them again.
And Dave is being ultra funny this morning, says Kelly Tupper. And Dave adds, there's no back to the Wonka box? What is this, a fun house? Why, having fun? And Dave asks, when do the Oompa Loompas come out to sing about your cereal?
I don't think they're alive anymore. I don't think they're coming out. No air in there.
Dave Mattingly says, Johnny, if anyone hears Krampus, it's me. Stay in your lane, birthday boy. Dave, you and I are going to sit down over a big cup of hot chocolate and talk about, we're going to have a Christmas therapy session.
You know what? I love having Dave here in the mornings. I'm not going to lie. I wave every morning because his energy is necessary.
Yeah, he's a great friend and a great friend of the show. And so Molly Daniels is joining us for just a moment. I love Ferngully, and I wish I could watch, but I'm getting ready for an event at 10. I will watch this later. Love you guys. Love you too, Molly. I haven't seen Molly very much this year. She is another author in the field, and she was not at Imaginarium this year. Were you, Molly? Or were you? I feel like I haven't seen you at all this year. And Andrew Milden, shut your pie hole. Andrew Milden says Christmas vacation stinks. What?
Do we need to invite him on week to find out what his definitive Christmas movies were?
Yes. Yes. I don't
That's a great idea, Willow.
I don't know if I can be friends with Andrew anymore.
Oh, no.
And Tabby Cat says, you'll put your eye out.
Right.
From
Oh my
Christmas
goodness.
Story.
Yeah,
And-
we need to talk about Christmas movies later on, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Christmas weekend, we sure will. And Dave Mattingly says the Addams Family opens with Christmas carolers. Pee-wee's
Yep.
Big Adventure includes a Christmas chase.
That's right, Dave. Counts
Batman-
as Christmas.
Batman Returns is a Christmas movie.
Mhm.
Edward Scissorhands is a Christmas movie.
Yep,
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
It is.
And-
a good one.
And Chris Vaglio says the Muppets Christmas Carol and the 1951 version with Alastair Sim is outstanding. Those are the two that we watch every year. And golly, there's so many comments here. People are having comments in the comments,
Okay.
or having conversations. And so we'll
What's
get
in
to
the
some
box?
of them.
What's in the box?
Yeah, so that's what we want to know for everybody who is watching. What is in the bowl? What's in your bowl this
Your
morning?
bowl.
We
Woohoo.
want to know how you are celebrating the fun of the Saturdays of our youth with a big bowl of cereal and what it is and what the heck, why you love it.
Yeah, and also, what's your loot, Johnny? Come on. Let's eat.
So, this morning, our next segment is brought to us by the Tales of the Decoverse series, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get books. And this is the part of the show where we reach into the cereal box and we pull out our new loot. Because when I was a kid, that was a big deal, right? We would reach into the box and pull out the prize. And because it is Johnny Palooza, I've got birthday loot to share. So
Ooh,
in the box this morning, we've got the Marvel Legends
nice.
Moon Knight. This is a brand new Marvel Legends on the retro card. And for those of you who don't know, I am an absolute fanatic for Moon Knight. I love this character, and I have one shelf in my office is my Moon Knight shelf. So my son got this for me for my birthday. I believe it's a Target exclusive, and yeah, it's going to look great next to the other Moon Knights on that shelf. But that's not all. I thought it would be cool to share with you guys a couple of things that I got at the comic book shop this week. And only two. If you want to see a good rundown of new comics this week, check out yesterday's Fanatic Forum with George Bueller here on our network. He does a rundown of new comics every week. It's really, really good. But I did pick up the brand new Howard the Duck #1. I had to get it because it's just a lot of fun, and it's an anthology series. And if I were to have any animal sidekick from a comic series, it would be Howard the Duck, because he's not just an animal. He's intelligent. You know, he's from a planet of sentient ducks, and he's a master of quack foo. So he can be a bodyguard too. It's the best of both worlds. And he's a fluffy duck. So anyway, Howard the Duck #1. And then I got part 2 of the Days of Future Past. And again, last week I talked about how issue 141 of the Uncanny X-Men introduced the Days of Future Past storyline in just a few panels on a couple of pages. This one continues that same story again on just a few panels on a few pages, and yet it has captivated, you know, comicdom's imagination for decades. Now we got to show this. This is Daredevil versus Johnny Punk, but it's a Hostess fruit pie ad. I love those old.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, and oh my gosh, this month, or this is the first ad that ever appeared for Captain Universe. And Captain Universe was a character created by Steve Ditko that and Bill Mantlo. And the whole thing was Captain Universe was like a sentient energy force that jumped into different people. So Captain Universe was a different person every time.
Oh my gosh, they need to make that movie now.
Yeah. You know what? That would be a great movie. And
they need to now. Oh my God.
From this issue of X-Men, this is maybe one of the most iconic panels that John Byrne ever drew.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the X-Men facing off against the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Ooh, yeah. I like that. That is a good panel.
This is a facsimile. It was reprinted exactly like it was in 1982. Ads and all. Like, ooh, the Pez candy dispenser ad. Oh, I love Pez.
So cool.
Yeah. So this is available on comic shelves this week. So go pick that up. And you know what? I recommend people pick up the facsimile editions either way. And the reason is because you can read these classic storylines for very little money. You don't have to invest, 10, 20, 50, hundreds of dollars into those classic storylines that have influenced comics and pop culture. All right, Aubrey, what prize do you have?
Okay, so I'm going to do 2 at once because I love games. So in the cereal box, first one I have is Ramen Fury. So I have not done any games yet. We've done comics, we've done, little geek prize and stuff. But I love anime, as I've said more than once on this podcast, and one day I will do something about anime. But this is a very fun game. And so I played it already. It is open. I bought this for my fiance's birthday the end of last month. But if you've never played Ramen Fury, it's a very small, very short game. It's a little spicy, but it's for all ages. And it is ages 8 and up, guys. Okay, it's fun, very, very fun. No bad words, nothing like that. But you still get a little competitive, and it all fits in this like little container. Okay, I just wanted to show that off because
Wait. Aubrey, is it a card game? Is it a dice game?
It's a card game.
And how do you play it?
So what you do is you make your bowl of ramen. You start with a bowl, and then you have to make 3 bowls of ramen and eat them before the rest of the people do. It's quite fun. It is actually quite amusing. And only adults played it this last time. And we kept us entertained the whole time. So, and these are some spicy adults. So anyway, and this one, the next one that is coming out of the box, I got at the convention that we went to. And it's an old-timey cereal box. When I say old-timey, I mean I'm aging us. But do you remember Fruit Boot? Brute, do you remember this guy?
Yes.
Brute. Come
They
on, guys.
they re-released his cereal last year.
Well, I need to find it.
Cereals.
I definitely need to find it because I have not tried this one, but I have him in a magnet now.
I love it. I love
Cute.
it. Willow, do you have any new loot for us this morning?
Bought some new clothes. I forgot to take pictures of them, but funny story. Okay, so those who do not know much about me, I am cheap. I have a certain standard of spending money. I do not like spending more money than I have to on shirts and pants. So going to stores like Winners and Marshall's is very much up my alley because they will, they will take brand names and brand name clothing and sell it on the cheap if it's like out of stock, about to go out of style. So I bought myself a fairly nice button-up shirt for $16. Okay, so it says regular price $39.99, $16, right? Looking on the tag, it's a they like to keep the original tags on them, and it's it was like $40 for the shirt. I'm like, no, or no, sorry, $80. It was like $80 for the shirt because it was Calvin Klein.
Yeah,
no, I will not ever spend that much money on a shirt.
Totally reasonable, very frugal.
And then I bought a pair of jeans for $24.99. $24. $29.99 original price apparently on their tag. I couldn't find the original price for the pair of jeans, but yeah, that's my standard of buying clothing.
So you're wearing $1 million outfits for Goodwill prices.
Bargain hunting. That's the only way that I shop.
Willow, I have to say, I worked for TJ Maxx Marshalls, which is Marmaxx company, for 7 years. I ended up in middle management. I have to say, to this day, I still think they have the best buyers. I'm not going to be paid for that. I know that. Maybe I'll work for them as a buyer one day, but their stuff is really great. And you can find some really inexpensive at the time. I have a $180 dress from Free People that I spent $30 on. So
that's crazy. Like I don't know. I just can't. It boggles my mind how people will actually go to these like name brand stores and spend like $80 on a shirt, and I'm just like, what is it made out of? You're paying
So
for
do
an
we have
egg.
any, right? So do we have any good hellos or highs or info from our watchers?
Yeah, we're gonna do some more audience comments. So Andrew Milden says Muppets Christmas Carol is platinum level. Chris Vaglio says I agree, Drew. And Dave Mattingly reminds me the movie that he turned me on to that I'm kind of upset with him about is The Return of Captain Invincible. It's a musical with Alan Arkin about a retired superhero, and I was so excited about it because the premise sounded so like right in my wheelhouse. Dave,
Uh-oh.
we need to have a conversation about your tastes in movies.
Uh-oh.
I still love you, but I'm mad at you for making me watch that movie. Anyway, I always imagine that all the podcasters are naked from the waist down. Well, funny that you should mention that, Dave, because no,
Do not stand up.
Johnny. No, that's okay. Okay.
Keep this a family show.
And Zentron says, "My hair. He shot my hair." A quote from Princess Vespa. Who's Princess Vespa? Is that from
I
Captain
think you
Invincible?
skipped a comment from him.
He's 3 degrees Celsius currently, negative 3 degrees Celsius. I don't know. Anyway.
There. Just got an A3 print signed by Daphne.
Yes, I knew it. Spaceballs.
Who played Princess
I love
Vespa in
Spaceballs.
All right. I did miss that one. Thank you, Willow.
No problem.
And Zentron says something very controversial. He says the Star Wars Christmas special is the best Christmas movie ever. Okay.
If you're high on
No,
cocaine.
No. So, you guys, there is a great documentary that just came out Thanksgiving weekend in select theaters across the country. It is coming to digital and physical media December 5th, called A Disturbance in the Force. And A Disturbance in the Force is a documentary about the Star Wars holiday special. It aired one time in 1978, never to be seen again. Now you can see it on YouTube and bootleg copies, but this documentary goes through the entire making of the special, why they did it. There's interviews with the stars. There's an interview with Mark Hamill, B. Arthur, who was actually comedy gold in this special.
Oh, I love B. Arthur. Okay,
Have you never seen the holiday special? It features the very first appearance of Boba Fett.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
I gotta see it now.
Yeah.
I gotta see it now.
Oh, Dave Mattingly says, Drew, I need to be on Drew versus Christmas podcast with you. You guys make that happen. And so Chris Vaglio says, me too, Dave. What is going on here? Am I losing the war for Christmas?
They're planning a podcast behind our back.
Yeah.
I celebrate Yule, by the way.
In my
guys, there's a spider. Oh my god, I'm scared of spiders, and there is a spider. Oh,
Get the husband.
Oh my god, I don't have one of those. I don't have one of those yet, Willow. I think in my book. I think my notebook just saved me. I am very, very, very scared of spiders. I really hope I killed it. Oh, it's there. Oh, I killed it. Oh my god, he's got a little lump. There he is. I'm sorry, guys, for anybody that likes spiders.
Aubrey, spiders are nature's pest control.
Well, I'm not a pest.
But if you have a spider
on my nose.
Aubrey, if you have a spider in your house, you will not have other pests like termites or flies or any other. Spiders are good. Spiders and lizards and snakes are good for your environment.
As long as they stay in their little corner, I'm cool, Johnny. They stay on their side. I stay on mine. Second breakfast.
Dave Mattingly says, in my bowl, it's time for second breakfast. I'm having reheated French fries.
No.
There's that 150 pounds, Dave, that you just talked about. Anyway, I had to skip breakfast to be at the event, sadly, says Zentron. So I had some chips with grated cheese and gravy for lunch. So in the States, for those of you in the US, chips are French fries. And grated cheese and gravy, that is a thing in America we call poutine.
Poutine.
And it's a Wisconsin and Michigan creation that has gradually drifted. Have you never had gravy fries, Willow?
I have. It's gross.
I
don't like
my gravy on the side of my fries.
There you go. Oh,
I can't deal with soggy fries.
thank you, Willow. That is the reason I do not like poutine. I have had it 3 times in my life. I was raised up north. They just saturate it. It's just like you pick it up and it's just like.
Well, you're not supposed to pick it up. You use the fork.
How about you make it less soggy?
Well, if they do the
imagine Zentron being from England.
He is.
Okay.
He's in
that
the
makes
UK.
sense. That makes sense to me.
Jimmy Scales Jr. says, I love Moon Knight. Yes, I do too. And the current Moon Knight series by Jed McKay is driving me insane because it's so good, but he keeps stretching the story out a little bit more and more to make us I'm anxious. I want to know how this thing ends. Anyway, in a good way. And Dave Mattingly says there are rumors of a Moon Knight season 2. I've seen those rumors. I'll be convinced when I see it.
Yeah, are they substantiated at all?
No. And we learned in a documentary or in a book this year that Disney has been pressuring Lucasfilm and Marvel to announce projects so far in advance that like 60% of them will never happen. And yet they make this big announcement that this is coming with no plans to make it happen. So
they're
anyway,
trying to see if they can ride that hype train into actually making enough money. I think that's what it sounds like.
Maybe. And Dave Mattingly says, Captain Universe, the hero who could be you. And Andrew Milden says, Captain Universe, that's a pretty spooky premise.
I know. I love it.
And I'm glad. Go ahead, Aubrey.
No, I'm just saying, with all the diversity that is going on right now, and the people on all sides of the planet that feel like their voices are heard, imagine what they could do with that movie. How many people could be seen and heard? So many varieties of types of people.
Actually,
if they did this right.
It doesn't need to be a movie. It needs to be a TV series.
A series.
Because it's
gritty,
basically
like The Boys, just a little gritty.
Well, no, it's basically
not as dark.
It's basically Quantum Leap, but with a superhero power leaping from person to person.
Johnny, that's genius. I absolutely love Quantum Leap. I am hardcore about Quantum Leap. Like, I've seen every episode. I made my daughter watch it when she was younger. I love it so much. Yes, that is a great idea. Somebody make this movie or miniseries or full series happen.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Kelly Tupper says Pez on sale at Walmart for $2 each. Stocking stuffers, yes.
Great stocking stuffers, guys.
And Dave says it's Captain Universe is like getting temporarily possessed by a superhero. There was a short run of when Spider-Man became Captain Universe. Yes. And when Spider-Man became Captain Universe, it was like 3 or 4 issues, and Captain Universe stayed in Peter longer than anyone, because usually it's like a 12 or 24 hour period, and for Peter it was days. That was unusual at the time, because basically what happens is the Captain Universe energy, sentient energy, jumps in a person until they complete that one mission. And that one mission could be just saving the train from crashing, and then it's gone. Or it could be a longer type of adventure, but in and out like a duck in mating season. And Zentron says, if you like anime, I'd recommend checking out Star Wars: The TIE Fighter animated short.
Okay.
Have you seen this, Aubrey?
I have
It
not,
is-
so I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you, Zentron.
It is very cool. It is reimagining the Star Wars: A New Hope Death Star trench run as an
Oh.
anime. It is, yeah.
What the trench? The trench run, like the okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
who
when they're-
doesn't
when
know
they're-
that scene.
When they're trying to destroy the Death Star, they're you know,
Yep.
yeah. But it's animated like a Japanese anime.
Oh, that sounds
And it's
freaking awesome.
It's very good. It's on YouTube, by the way, says Zentron. And Andrew
Thank
Milden
you.
says, I need that comic series immediately. Talking about Captain Universe. It's available at comic book shops for pennies. You can probably get it in the quarter bin.
Ooh, searching going to be done.
And Zentron, I just watched it last night. It was amazing. Talking about the Star Wars TIE Fighter animated short. Also, check out Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, I love the
Take
Blue-Eyed
Off-
Samurai.
And Blue-Eyed. I've not watched it yet, but it's getting rave reviews.
Yes, I like the Blue-Eyed Samurai. I'm not a Scott Pilgrim fan. I'm just going to be honest. It's a modern romance, I guess. I like some of the characters. Not a huge fan, though.
Dave Mattingly, this makes my heart so sad. He says at Zentron, the Star Wars Christmas special can't be the best Christmas movie ever because there are no best Christmas movies. Happy Life Day, Dave. How about that? Anyway, there are more and more comments than we are going to be able to get to right now because we've got to get to our main topic, brought to you by our sponsor, Nightly Spirits, nightlyspirits.com, because there's no better time than the Christmas season for a good old-fashioned ghost story. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. And you can get 10% with my promo code, JohnP667. That is good anywhere in the country. And it is time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we need to do a quick reset. So we're going to be doing something new with the format of our audio podcast. So bear with me as we do this real quick. This is going to feel like deja vu, but that's okay. We're going to be talking about Ferngully right after this from our friend D.L. Memphis and the Murdering Crows.
Hits like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss, Johnny Carson and Mickey Mouse. The first star was James Dean, Elvis Presley and he's still the king. Some things are only imitatable. You can't beat an original. Oh, you can't beat an original.
All right, friends and foes, we are back with Back of the Cereal Box, the pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth. And with me is my co-host Willow Schuyler and Aubrey Cavett. And this morning, we are talking about Saturday matinee movies that you curl up on the living room floor with a blanket and a bunch of pillows stacked around you with a bowl of cereal or popcorn, or the whole family gathered around. And this week, we are talking about the 1992 independent animated movie, Ferngully, The Last Rainforest.
Woohoo!
Now, this matinee movie was specially requested by Aubrey. She is obsessed with this movie, and we're going to try and keep her on the rails, but we're going to let her talk about why she loves this movie so much. Now, before we get to that, Tale of the Tape. This is an independent animated musical fantasy directed by Bill Croyer, and it was scripted by Jim Cox and adapted from the Ferngully stories by Diana Young. The film is an Australian and American venture produced by Croyer Films and Young Heart Productions, FAI Films, and distributed by 20th Century Fox. It stars the voices of Samantha Mayes, Tim Curry, Christian Slater, Jonathan Ward, Robin Williams, Gracie Zabriskie, and Tone Loc, the rapper Tone Loc. It is a story about Ferngully set in an Australian rainforest inhabited by fairies, including Krista, who accidentally shrinks a young logger named Zach to the size of a fairy. And together they rally the fairies and the animals of the forest to protect their home from the loggers and Hexus, a malevolent pollution entity. Wayne Young, the film's producer, said the film was blatantly environmental, though made an effort to avoid being preachy. The film was released to mainly positive reviews and was also generally considered a moderate financial success at both the box office and home video sales. And in 1998, it was followed by a direct-to-video sequel, Ferngully 2, The Magical Rescue, though none of the original voice cast reprised their roles. Now, Aubrey, before I set you loose, I just want you to know that I had never seen this movie until this week. I was very familiar with it. I was very familiar with the music and the songs. Life is a magic thing. I used to use that as one of the opening songs in my magic shows. I did a show at a theme park in New York at Great Escape, and we did an illusion show, and that was our opening theme song. So, and I was very familiar with Tim Curry's Toxic Love, because in a former life, I had a friend who was a burlesque performer who did a performance to that song. And I was very familiar with the Tone Loc piece because they made a big deal about Tone Loc being in this movie. And he appears as the lizard. And I don't think I actually have oh, here he is. Tone Loc appeared as this character. If I'm gonna eat you, it might as well be you. Performed by Tone Loc, but written by Jimmy Buffett,
which I did not know until this morning.
Yeah, Jimmy Buffett and his musical director Mike Utley wrote "If I'm Gonna Eat Somebody," and Tone Loc performed it. And we had some superstars like Johnny Clegg and Raffi doing the song "Raining Like Miracles." A Dream Worth Keeping was performed by Sheena Easton, and then Some Other World with Elton John and Bruce Roberts, and performed by Elton John. And what's really funny is this movie came out in 1992, and this was between, this was after Little Mermaid, after Beauty and the Beast, but before Aladdin. And this is important context because you're going to talk about this in a minute, Aubrey.
Yep.
Disney had their huge renaissance. They were back on top. Don Bluth Studios were cranking out amazing things like
one after the other. Yep.
Starting with Secret of Nim and All Dogs Go to Heaven and American Tail. And
so many good ones.
A lot of good ones. Land Before Time. And this movie clearly, to me, tried to capture that magic that Disney and Don Bluth were creating. However, did it capture that magic, or was it really a misstep? And because I gotta be honest with you guys, I fell asleep watching this movie this week. It felt I love the animation. I like the characters. I liked some of the voice performances. But the story was very formulaic, very straightforward. And in the middle, when Zach gets shrunk to fairy size and is discovering the love of the forest and his love for Krista, I fell asleep. It just bored me to tears. But I'm not gonna yuck on your yum, Aubrey. So tell us, as I have screenshots. So these are in random order. You don't have to talk about these screenshots particularly, but tell us, why did you love this movie?
Okay, Johnny. I think part of the reason that I love Krista and Hexus and this whole story, besides the fact that there is a huge dynamic cast that you listed off already. I mean, Robin Williams, Tim Curry, just those two combined are enough to draw in a crowd. And the reason why it did so good is because I believe, in part, a huge part actually, to do with the cast. This voice cast, Samantha Mathis plays Krista, and she's been in a lot of stuff. And honestly, her quirky adorableness that she brings to the character is exactly the innocence it needed. We've got Robert Pastorelli that's playing one of the humans. He's full of sassy pants. I believe he was on My Cousin Vinny. You've got Tone Loc rapping. We have Cheech and Chong in this movie, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows that, but Cheech and Chong play the bugs. The two little bugs. They're little sassy. They call the human Zag instead of Zach. But Jonathan Wards is the one that played Zag or Zach, either one. And I can't tell you how many times I have lost count, Johnny, how many times I've seen this movie. I know it word for word. I know this movie. I watched it and I couldn't believe that I still, from childhood, from 12 years old, look at her. She's just holding her chest like I was just doing. Because it's just like, it makes you think, okay, this movie reaches down to those of us who love musical theater, who like the environment, who like things that pull on your heartstrings. It just really does that. And the innocence, if you really watch it with an open mind about feeling, because that's a lot of what this movie is. It's back in the time period of I'm trying to remember all of the Don Bluth movies, all those big movies were there was so much music involved, and it really shaped the whole story from beginning to end. The entrance of Batty comes and just pummels the story right away. Like, it's such an innocent story in the beginning. It's just this fairy floating around and she's kind of mocking the leader, like, oh, you worry too much. And then you get headlong shoved into reality, because this beautiful scene of nature and innocence that's like, oh, it's fine, it's perfect. Batty comes in and just destroys the whole idea with his Robin Williams, with his comedy, which, again, you said 14 hours. He used so much more than they had to of Robin's. Okay, first of all, if people don't know, I am an enormous Robin Williams fan. I think I saw Good Morning Vietnam more than any child, a female child that is 11 should ever be allowed to watch. I know that movie by heart. Okay, so I love Robin Williams. Short, furry, funny. Oh my gosh, one of the first.
Wait. Slow down for just a minute, because you made a point that you just breezed past. Robin Williams recorded 14 hours of improvised voice tracks for this movie.
Yep.
And the part was only supposed to be 9 minutes of the film. They were only able to use very little of what he actually recorded.
I want the outtakes. Like, I would pay money for the outtakes to Robin Williams, both Aladdin and this. But I'm going to get to the Aladdin part in a little while, and I want Willow to talk about that too, because she knows some of it. He also loves Robin Williams, and so I want her to come in on this too, because I'm glad I'm not the only one who knows this. And I will say at the end of this, there are some things about this situation that you can look up on other sources about Mr. Williams, but I am a huge fan, enormous fan. To this day, Robin, you were taken from us too young. I don't care how, just I wish you hadn't. I think that is next to George Carlin, one of the most influential male comedians of my lifetime. And so to have his voice in there, baddie rapping, Robin was huge about being loyal to the planet and poor humanity, helping the homeless. He loved giving back. He loved making people feel and think at the same time. Patch Adams, so many. I could go down a rabbit hole for Robin Williams. I'm not going to do that. But if we're going back and pulling to this story, you know, Hexus is a representation. There's a dark over area. Yes, there he is. Okay, so there's a dark overview of this whole story that, you know, people can push aside and say, environment. But let's just talk for just a quick second, not super long, about Hexus and the idea that it represents, even if you're not talking about Mother Nature, okay? There is a darkness inside our society prevalent all the way back as far as humanity goes. And we keep that locked in with our own light and our own desire to make things better and not to destroy and to use things to make, you know, growth happen. And Hexus in this movie, even if you don't like saving the environment, you know, Hexus represents the despicable evil that is natural. Okay, it comes from nature and it wants to suck things up. And if we allow it, it will. So you can take this down a dark rabbit hole of emotions and society. You don't even have to talk about Mother Nature, but this movie was designed to talk about that. The writer is Poirier's wife. And the fact that she wrote this story and that he helped make this a thing. You know, if we want to talk about animation, I love anime because we have movement and beauty, but we also have painted backgrounds. We have the stuff where you look at it and you could just screenshot it and put it on your wall, man. Like that, I love that kind of art. I love taking thought and music and mixing it with good animation and movement, action, romance, and then putting a background behind it. So for me, this movie is always going to be like one of my top 20. And there's a lot of movies out there. So top 20, it's kind of hard to do. Go ahead. You were going to say something, Johnny. I saw that.
Yeah. So if you love that traditional animation with painted backgrounds, everyone who is in Aubrey's camp this weekend, go see Wish, the new Disney musical. It is a
Really?
it is a hybrid of CGI and traditional animation.
Okay.
The backdrops are all traditional animation, hand painted backdrops. The animation is a hybrid. They created hand drawn character models and then used CGI animation to animate them. So it looks and feels a lot like a traditional animated movie, but the backdrops are all hand painted in Wish. It's pretty it's pretty cool. $200 million budget for one animated movie. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
So
go see.
there's two ways that you can confirm that this movie is done in Australia besides looking at the wiki. Just to let you know, Zach's ID in the movie, if you screenshot that, Zach's ID says that he is from Australia. So when Robert Pastelli or I believe Pastelli, that I'm saying that right, Pastorelli, sorry. When he's talking to his coworker, which he says some spicy lines in that. One of his lines is, "How many times a day I gotta threaten your life?" Whoa. Okay, so the human beings, they're showing just how hardworking, and they're talking about double overtime so that they can cut down all these trees in there. But when this is going on, he talks about how Zach is at a summer job. Okay, and the other way that you can tell that it's Australia is the grass trees. So when Maggie Luna is looking out and she parts, by the way, the amount of magic that these creatures, these fairies have in this story, they just bend the trees, like just let me look through here. What's happening? You know, and there's the smoke. Oh, what's that? Right. The trees just go like, they just sigh, like the old black and white cartoons where the trees would just dance. They're just like, they just part. And there is this smoke, and that's not even Hexus yet. Hexus isn't even released, but she's immediately worried about the human beings. But those trees that you see that are when Maggie Luna does that, and then Krista flies through, they're those weird shaped trees with the little tufts at the end. Those are called grass trees, only found in that parts of Australia. But the other reason why they did this movie, one of the things that I wanted to step on, is about the environment. It is about the environment. Like there was so many forest fires. People were really worried about global warming. These are not things that have gone away, guys. We still got more people. Things are still going forward. So, I recycle. And this is the only thing I'm going to say about the environment part. I do my tiny bit to recycle. I reduce, reuse. I try to buy secondhand. I buy from local. I try not to buy. I'm going to say it, and they're not going to like it, but I try not to do Wish, Temu, and other things like that because that's fast fashion. So if you gotta buy it, try not to. I know discount is a great thing. I am a thrift goddess when it comes to that. Like you, Willow, I love saving a dime because I always got to pinch those pennies till they scream a second time, But the truth is that if you can avoid doing fast fashion, secondhand is just as good. And back to this, the storyline. Magi Luna is the oldest and the most wisest and the most powerful fairy in this story. Okay, and she gives up. Or spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm so sorry. Magi dies at the end, guys. Okay,
Does she die? Does she die,
does
or
die.
do-
She is
or does
absorbed.
she
gives her
becomes
life.
she becomes
Mhm.
one with the Force?
Yes. She essentially herself, dies, and she sprinkles a little bit of herself to everybody. Spoiler alert. But the fact that this story,
I had a girl. She sprinkled a little bit of herself to everybody. I had a girlfriend like that in college.
Oh, Johnny.
Keep it family friendly, guys.
Different kind of sprinkles, different kind of sprinkles.
You're welcome.
Anyway, so there's some great one-liners. Okay, one of my favorite things about a movie is that it's got good music, it's got romance, action, keeps you entertained. To me, this does for me. But again, childhood, is very impressionable. So if you haven't watched it as a kid, maybe just go back and try it. But keep an open mind. It is a kid's movie. It was meant to be safe for children. So even though Tim Curry's on there and they cut some of his lines, and Willow's going to talk about that in a little while, if Spicy Man was there, we still have this noxious muck. Like his lines just dripped, they oozed. And then we've got the baddie rap. If you've never heard the baddie rap from Robin Williams, potato in a jacket. I mean, come on, guys. You have to see this movie just for the music, even if you buy the soundtrack. But the biggest thing, the one-liners. Okay, we've got a one-liner that says, "Great, I was shrunk by an amateur," and it's Darwin's grab bag. Robin Williams, one of my favorite. I'd rather suck wax fruit. And the giggles on Tim Curry. If you don't giggle when Tim Curry giggles, I'm sorry for you on so many levels. But I just have to say, watch this with your kids. Even if you don't like fairies, you don't have to like fairies. It's got some fun. It's got a little bit of romance. And before we got on screen, I had to say to Johnny something. I want to remind people, just because somebody loves somebody doesn't mean that other somebody loves you back. It's kind of sad this time of year to say that, but in this movie, we do see that. We have a beautiful fairy Krista.
Well, wait.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna disagree with you on this point. You said that Krista was not interested in Zach, and I don't think that's true. I think she was, but I think she realized that there were two different species, two different worlds, two different backgrounds. It would be too difficult and unfair to both of them to pursue that, because it was very evident that they were falling in love, Zach and Krista. And by the way, guys, if Aubrey says you may not like fairies, but you're gonna like Krista. I'm just gonna say.
And for the women, of course, there was Puck, who was voiced by Christian Slater.
Oh, spicy.
His voice acting in this kind of took me out a little bit,
because
I didn't realize it was him.
Tips.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, Krista, what's going on in the rainforest?" Kind of like
supposed to be an Australian badass surfer dude. Didn't you know that, Johnny? Some girls like that muscly kind. I'm not one of them, but
my wife does, which explains a lot in our household. Anyway, so Willow, you loved this movie when you were young, and you said you hadn't seen it in maybe since then, and you watched it this week. So give us your kind of opinion, rundown, what you thought about this movie, and then I'm going to share my thoughts and
Alright.
completely upend the cart.
So yeah, this movie, I remember loving it as a child and being all excited for, you know, all the animation. Although, okay, so watching it, I watched it yesterday, and the music. So some of the music didn't seem like it fit with, you know, with the theme of the movie. Not as well as like any Disney movie or any other animated movie that I've seen as a kid.
Not Disney. Not
But
Disney.
no, I know it's a Fox movie. It's but I do remember getting this. They were paper dolls that you got with the movie when you bought it. I remember playing with that as a kid and trying to recreate all the little scenes and making my own imagination up. I don't know too much of the toys that came out from this.
There weren't any
either,
and that was kind of a weird thing, because this movie did have moderate success at the box office. It didn't, blow the walls off, but it did make profit. It was successful, but it didn't have extensive toys. There was one doll made of Krista, which was in a blister pack, and it's just quite honestly not very good.
There's two of them.
And there was a plush baddie made, and then there was a set of PVC characters, made, and that was it. Those are the only toys that existed for this movie, which I find a monumental missed opportunity. The only other merchandise that I could find were the paper dolls that Willow mentioned, and a book.
I've seen that.
Krista Saves the Magic. And I don't know if this is the original book that the movie was based off of and then readapted based off of the movie, but
based on the animated feature film.
Yeah, so that was the only. There were no board games produced. There was very little merchandise. I couldn't find. I couldn't find.
Courier Studios was very small, Johnny. And
I understand that. No, I understand that. So was Lucasfilm when Star Wars came out.
Yeah, it didn't have a lot of backing. Courier was trying to keep it in-house, like according to the stuff I looked up.
Well, no, I completely get that. But if you have something that's successful and that you want people to go see, you create merchandise around it. And George Lucas taught us that. That was what fueled the success of Star Wars. So
apparently there was some kind of
people could recreate the stories with their toys at home, and it fueled anticipation. And there was nothing like that produced for this movie.
But there's a reason why there was so much Disney.
Well, no. Willow. Hold on. Star Wars was released independently in 1977. It was not produced by Disney. It was not owned by Disney. It was wholly owned by George Lucas, distributed by 20th Century Fox. He had the foresight to understand merchandising and how merchandising can drive and fuel more and more views and ticket sales. That was not a Disney thing. Disney came into the picture in 2013 because they wanted a piece of what had already been created. So now I know with Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, you did have the Disney machine behind that, but even those movies, they were still playing catch up to the dark years. They were still coming out of their dark period. And we saw with The Secret of Nim and All Dogs Go to Heaven and Land Before Time, those things were merchandised all over the place. American Tail, you saw
But
Fievel toys.
This movie in
everywhere.
particular had Disney whoever was in charge of Disney at the time
Jeffrey
hated the
Katzenberg.
fact that Robin Williams was working on this movie, and they tried to control every aspect of this movie and try to ruin it.
Yeah, they tried to sabotage it. So
They did.
and part of the story was that, you know, this was Robin Williams' first animated role, the character of Batty Coda, and it was created specifically for him. Now, Robin Williams had signed on to do this movie before he was offered the role of the genie in Aladdin, which would come out a year later, and was he was nominated for an Academy Award for his voice acting in that movie. But he had already signed on to be Batty before Aladdin. But Jeffrey Katzenberg, the chairman of Walt Disney Studios, really tried to sabotage this. He tried to force Williams to withdraw from Ferngully on the grounds that he did not want him voicing two animated characters at the same time. Robin Williams refused, and Disney repeatedly interfered with the production of this movie, twice by taking over spaces that the producers had rented by paying the landlords more to kick them out. And then the producers bought a former brewery in the San Fernando Valley to be their studio. Disney attempted to come in and buy the building. And so anyway, yes, you're right. Disney tried to sabotage this movie. Why? I'm not really sure. But Jeffrey Katzenberg, although he oversaw the renaissance of Disney, he was soon to be gone. And, Bob Iger would come in and replace him shortly thereafter. But I will tell you this, and Willow, you and I talked about this before before we went live. I felt like the producers on this movie really did try to capture that Disney and Don Bluth magic. But in my opinion, they failed. They came close, but like you said, some of the songs just did not fit. And some of the characters serve no purpose, like the lizard, Tone Loc. Great song, great character. He appears, sings the song, and disappears. Served no purpose. There were, a couple of other pieces of music that, didn't quite fit as well as we might expect them to today. However, the voice performance by Tim Curry was absolute magic. And, based on what we just told you about Robin Williams and being pressured to leave this film, it is very obvious that even though he voiced 14 hours of improv material, it is very obvious in this movie that the producers needed to keep his character to the script. They did not allow him to take over the movie. And I know you disagree with that, Aubrey, but to me, I'm not just a Robin Williams fan. I studied with Robin Williams. So I know a little bit about his technique. Oh, yeah. I studied stand-up comedy with Robin Williams back in the early 90s.
What do you mean with him?
Huh?
What do you mean with Robin?
I took classes from Robin Williams.
What?
Anyway, yes. So
holy crap.
So when I hear him do a project, I can see, I can recognize when he's being reined in a little bit. And this movie definitely had him getting reined in. And so for me, this movie was very straightforward. It was very predictable, with the exception of Zach returning to human size and leaving the rainforest. But he did leave with a renewed appreciation and probably commitment to try to protect it. But, if it had been 100% predictable, Zach would have stayed, shrunk, and would have lived among the fairies forever, because he got sprinkled with a little bit of her magic as well.
Yes, he did.
And
which is
yeah.
why I believe he appreciated things a little more. But what was your opinion on things, Willow?
Well, okay, so the whole movie it's really cute and definitely was a magical movie for me to watch as a kid. Not so much as an adult, but knowing some of the truth behind it. Although, I feel like Tim Curry's character highly influenced the character of Hades.
I
can see that.
Like the two very much have that like feel and yeah. I don't know. It like I feel like that was a role that Tim Curry could have easily sunk into.
I love the song he sang, "My Toxic Love." It was great.
And speaking of that role, Tim Curry's original voice recordings were so eerie and sinister that it made children cry during test screenings. Curry had to be called back in for some less intimidating retakes.
I mean, I want to hear those too. I really want to hear those too. I want a ringtone of that.
Oh, my little children, are you frightened by my performance? Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes, his toxic love.
So those of you who are commenting in the chat, we're going to get to your comments here in just a minute. Continue to share because you've got a couple of diverse opinions here. Aubrey, who is over the moon in love with this movie. Willow, who loved it as a child and has slightly different opinions now as an adult, seeing it with fresh eyes, and me having never seen it. With my film critique sensibilities, I don't dislike this movie. Let me just say that.
Okay.
I think this movie is a fantastic piece for the family to sit down, especially family with young kids, on the living room floor, and to enjoy it for what it is. Is it a masterpiece? No. Is it a perfect film? No. Is it worth watching? Yes. It is definitely a big piece of American pop culture. Despite the lack of merchandising, this movie did have an impact on American pop culture, and because
huge.
Because it was a hit. Speaking of which, I did do a search for merchandise, for cereal, for clothing tie-ins. I did a search for Ferngully cosplay. You guys, there's so much out there. I couldn't even begin to start to represent any of it. But I found this one picture of the three together, and just do a Google search for Ferngully, The Last Rainforest cosplay, and be prepared to take a deep dive for days and days.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. So, Aubrey, your assignment, if you should accept it, is to create a Ferngully cosplay. A fairy. I would love to see your version of Krista.
I think you would do very well as Maggie.
Oh, I hate pink though.
No, whoops.
It's not a good color, but there was some ginger in the background because there's a lot of fairies in this movie. There is a huge array of did you see the big guy that looks like Santa, the dad with the skirt? Look at him. He's so cute. Oh my God. If I could find a cosplayer that I was wearing this costume that I'll try to make one. Okay. But if I could find an old guy that's got like that grass skirt on, I want a picture with the big belly. Cause oh my goodness, he's so little, and his hair, I was trying to do the hair. But I'm just going to say this one more thing. This movie is even if you don't watch the movie, the soundtrack, okay? The music behind it permeates my thoughts. Also, guys, when Zach wakes up, there's some really funny parts in this movie also. When Zach wakes up, any male on the planet, if he wakes up and you have his pocket knife and his wallet, okay, just don't hurt me.
And you're scantily clad.
She was scantily clad. He's like, oh,
Warning
okay.
bells.
Right? But tubular. I never heard the word tubular or bodacious until this movie. You don't understand. There is a reason I call everybody dude. Okay? It's genderless to me. There is no gender in dude. You're a dude. You're a dude. You're a dude. I'm a dude. We're all dudes, dude. Bodacious dudes.
Alrighty. Let's go to some viewer comments. Andrew Milden says, I love this movie. And Dave Mattingly says, I think voicing Batty in Ferngully is what got Robin Williams the genie gig in Aladdin.
No,
but I wish
it almost took away his chances of getting that role.
It did. Check out that rabbit hole, guys. It's not on our YouTube. We're not tattling on nobody.
Tabby Cat says, I wore out a VHS of this movie too. Ferngully is one of my favorites. It's also part of my Robin Williams collection. Yeah.
Robin.
And Tabby Cat says, bless your eyes with magic light. I give the gift of fairy size or sight. Yeah, that's what happens. And Andrew wants to do a Don Bluth miniseries. They basically made everything. This is Avatar, by the way. Avatar, what?
Okay, so Avatar highly
Ferngully. Backgrounds
was influenced by Ferngully. If you watch it, you will see a lot of
the artwork. Oh yeah,
the James Cameron Avatar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of influence there. And Andrew, yes, we are going to be talking about. We've already done Secret of Nim, Don Bluth movie. I think we're debating on whether the next one should be Land Before Time or All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yes.
All right.
I love both of them equally. Can we just do a little mini series on him? Like
let's talk about it this week. All right. So Dave Mattingly says Tone Loc was a lot of fun as the cop in Surf Ninjas. Or Andrew Milden says Juice in Blank Check. I've never seen either of those. All right. So Dave Mattingly says it's a story told time and time again. Boy meets girl, Robin Williams arrives and takes over the movie.
Yeah.
But they really didn't let him though. That is the thing.
A little bit, just a little.
Tabby does says Robin steals it all. And Andrew Milden says a story old as time, tale as old as time, true as it can be. Tabby Cat says, Johnny, it's like that with every movie he ever voiced. Hours and hours of extra recording they couldn't use. Think of the compilation.
Oh,
all right.
I guess. Oh, yes, please.
And Tabby Cat says, I agree, Aubrey, top 20 for sure. Okay. Callie Hawkins says, hey, y'all. Great morning with your crew. Thank you, Callie. Thank you for being here. And Dave Mattingly, my favorite Robin Williams movies are, in order, Dead Poets Society, Popeye, and Aladdin. And I am going to agree with you 100%. I love Popeye.
I know way too much of all those movies. I think I've seen them each like at least 15 times.
Dead Poets Society
so good.
Was one of the most influential movies of my early or late teens. It came out right after I graduated high school. And the message in that movie resonated so deeply with me that it really set my path for the next 2 decades. Tabby Cat says Ferngully is great ecto-fiction. Eco-fiction. And Andrew Milden. He says, Dave, Jack is in my top 3 too.
Oh my God, Jack! I remember Jack.
I couldn't bring myself to watch that.
Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. Oh, there's so many. Patch Adams.
Tabby Cat says, Johnny, lol, LOL. She sprinkled her energy throughout them all, recycling back into the stream. Okay, Top 5 Robin Williams movies. Maybe number 4 is Hook. Love that movie.
Rubio.
Tabby Cat says, potato in a jacket, toys in the attic.
Rockin' I ramble. My brain is scrambled.
All right. So Zentron says I'll have to play the baddie today, but Wish should have been called Meh. Not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's not one to watch over and over again.
Wait, Zentron. Do you like Ferngully more than Wish?
Like what?
Does he like Ferngully more than Wish?
Oh. That'll be a good question. We'll have to let him answer. Tabby Cat says, I agree with Johnny on the Krista Zach love dynamic. Thank you, Tabby. And Drew says his favorite Robin Williams is 1, Hook, Jack, and Aladdin, tied with Jumanji. All right, so Dave Mattingly says Krista wasn't quite the bombshell that Eleanor was in Wizards, but she's got it going. Oh, this is good, Aubrey. She asks, how's everyone feeling? Baddie or toxic? I think you're feeling baddie for sure.
I'm always a little.
A lot of us are a form of baddie.
So Dave Manning said John worked with Robin Williams. You should have led with that, Johnny. So I took a stand-up comedy workshop that he directed and led out in LA. So he was one of my mentors, but also Red Fox. I spent a lot of time with Red Fox growing up. Anyway, that's a lifetime ago. Sometimes I forget those things even happened. But here's what I learned from Robin Williams, okay? So everyone thinks that Robin Williams improvised everything, and that's not true. Robin Williams had set bits that he had rehearsed, developed, written, and perfected. Where the improvisation came in was he had them ready to go in any order at any time. He could instantly dig into that filing cabinet and pull out those lines or those bits to fit whatever situation he was in. And there's a point in this movie where he goes into it's at the end when they're fighting Hexus. He goes into one of his characters that he brings back over and over. He's like, it's a cowboy kind of cavalry general character. Mount them up, boys. Let's move out. And he used to do that character. He did it in Night at the Museum as Teddy Roosevelt.
He actually references about 4 or 5 movies in that scene at the very end against Hexus. Hexus. He's like 4 or 5 movies that you might have seen lines from those movies. He's shouting as after Zach hits his little wire on his ear. He just shouts them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one of the things I loved about Robin way back in the Mork and Mindy days is, you're right, Johnny. He just seemed to pull from like a multitude of characters in his head that he had prepared, just ready to come out and punch somebody with a 1-2. The one-liners are just perfect, pervade this whole movie.
Yeah. And Tabby Cat says Tone Loc's character served as an intro into the severe danger Zach had suddenly been dropped into. Okay.
Thank you, Tabby. I agree.
Okay, I can. All right, so I did know this. Dave Mattingly says Tim Curry auditioned for the animated Joker, but he was far too creepy. I think, though, did he not end up doing a version of the Joker in one of the animated films?
I think he did it for like the first season or first couple episodes, but then he couldn't hold on to the character's voice for very long.
Well, it wasn't in Batman the Animated Series. That was always Mark Hamill. That's what Dave's referencing. He auditioned for that, but I think he came back and did the Joker for one of the animated movies. Someone correct us on that.
I'm looking at his
And I will say that watching the movie not on VHS, it does matter. I don't know if I had a bad copy of my VHS. A lot of bootlegs back in the day. So I will say that as far as watching Ferngully not on VHS, having worn out mine as a kid, and having purchased it to watch it again. It's definitely a little cleaner. It cleaned up a little bit of the edges, a little bit of you can see some speckles in the the tape. You can tell, but honestly, it really kept a lot of the original love that I had for it. And I would love to see outtakes. Like, somebody find that vault case, Like, I don't know how much money I got in the bank, but I know it's not enough to afford that. But somebody unearth it so the rest of us can see it, because I guarantee between Tim Curry, Robin Williams, Tone Loc, and Cheech and Chong, there has got to be some extra great stuff in there that we could unearth.
And Zentron says definitely he likes Ferngully more than Wish. So there you go, Aubrey. What'd you find out, Willow?
Okay, so Tim Curry was initially cast as the Joker in Batman the Animated Series in '92. However, after recording only 4 episodes, he quit the show after he developed bronchitis.
Oh.
Hi, my cat.
That's the same year as this movie came out, isn't it?
I think so.
Huh. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. Because I will say, this is kind of weird, but I did think that Tim Curry's voice was a little scratchy during this. Maybe he was going through something.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that, because at first I was like, nah, maybe it was just for the part. But no, I think maybe Tim had something going on back then in '92 that he didn't want to spread around about his voice, because his voice was 90% of his work.
Okay. So further information on that, that yes, he did voice those 4 episodes, but they never used the recordings. They replaced him with Mark Hamill.
Right away? Oh, wow.
But, and apparently just because it was too intense, too scary. But the voice recordings are available. And
what?
And
where?
So I'm trying to find a link to it. Once we find it, we'll post it. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
So we're gonna let Dave Mattingly have the last word on Ferngully.
Oh.
He says, Ferngully,
Avatar, Dances
it's all
with
the
Wolves.
same movie. And yeah.
Oh, Johnny,
I'm going to agree. I watched Dances with Wolves again. No, I know we lost connection for just a minute. I did watch Dances with Wolves last week. Brilliant movie. And Avatar is a direct ripoff of Dances with Wolves, and it came out actually after Ferngully. So maybe Ferngully influenced Dances with Wolves, because in Ferngully, Zach is the Dances with Wolves character. And my dog just opened the studio door and came in. She can open doors on her own.
Oh, the wonders of home studios, guys.
Yeah. So everyone listening and watching, you may have noticed we did something a little bit different today, and that is we started the show again in the middle. And that's because only people who watch the live stream from beginning to end will get to see what's in the bowl and new loot and some of the other precursor discussion.
Ooh.
The audio version of this show will only pick up with the discussion of the animated properties from Saturday mornings that we are talking about going forward.
Special stuff. You get to see special stuff nobody else does. That's awesome,
Yes.
Johnny. I love that. Somebody bribed Johnny to let us have commercials.
Well, we do have commercials.
We do.
Yeah, but right now they're just our own commercials. But that's going to change very soon as well. Big news is coming for 2024. But as we go into season 4 now, that is what we're going to do for the audio version. Yeah, for the audio version, it's just going to be a tighter show. And for those of you who are listening, who want to see, well, what is in their bowl? What are they talking about cereal? What are they talking about prizes from the cereal box? You'll have to watch the live streams on Saturday mornings or replay on YouTube and Facebook. But
Ooh, and
there you go.
We got Patreon, right, too?
What's that?
We got a Patreon, right, too?
Yes.
Right there on
Yeah,
the bottom.
so-
Look at our Patreon.
Yeah. So for those of you who want to support the show, visit us at patreon.com/serialbox podcast right there. Patreon.com/serialbox podcast. And
Click the
there
thing. Click the
are
thing.
exclusives. There are exclusives only for
Mm-hmm.
Patreon subscribers, including the latest 2 episodes of Back Issue Breakfast Club.
Oh,
And Willow, we're going to be talking about you doing a Patreon exclusive series,
ooh.
including your Winnipeg Comic-Con adventure is only going to be made available to our Patreon subscribers.
Yay!
I'll get on editing that.
Hey,
as soon as I
Johnny,
can.
Johnny, we should talk about the 3 of us doing a happy birthday just for Patreon exclusive.
Ooh,
All 3 of us
you know what?
singing happy birthday.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. But in the meantime, we need to go because I gotta go make breakfast for the family. And oh, actually, no, Dave just corrected me. Dances with Wolves was 1990, so it was the original. Ferngully was the imitator. Love it, love it.
Wasn't like Pocahontas also in that list of things that James Cameron kind of ripped off for
Probably.
Avatar?
Pocahontas was later after.
Yeah,
Dances
but
with
not
Wolves.
not the movie, but like the story of.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah.
So.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I think you're right. All right, so we got to go. Willow, tell people where they can follow, find, and support you.
All right, you can find me all over social media. I kind of like to refer to myself as the social media socialite. I am on Facebook, YouTube. I do not use Twitter much, but you can find me on there, or X. You can find me on TikTok more so, and Instagram. And soon you'll see me on Patreon, I guess.
Excellent.
And tomorrow,
look who just joined us.
Tomorrow night, please join me for Cryptid Crunch. I believe Aubrey will be joining us. So please, we're going to be talking about holiday creatures. So yeah, revisiting
fun.
holiday creatures.
And Aubrey, you can be found on Instagram at
Donnie Even K on Instagram, and also on Facebook on my own personal name. And I will be walking in our tree lighting ceremony tonight, hopefully not being rained on or freezing my butt off. We decorated the float last night. We are part of P-Flag, by the way, if you want to look up our organization. Not a sponsor, but definitely proud to serve my community in different ways, including dressing up like a character and wishing all of you happy holidays.
Outstanding. And I am Johnny. You can follow us at backofthecerealbox.fun, backofthecerealbox.fun. And tonight for Johnny Palooza Day 1, my son and I are going to go see the new Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1. I can't wait. Full report to follow. And before we leave, guys, we got to acknowledge one of our partners, Comic Books for Kids.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.
And if you want to support Comic Books for Kids, a great way to do it is on Facebook. I created a birthday fundraiser to benefit Comic Books for Kids.
Oh, that's so nice of you, Johnny.
As a birthday present to me, drop some donations to comic books for kids. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to say so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, bonjour. Love you, mean it. Until the next time, catch ya on the back of the cereal box.
Mhm.